Good evening. I'm excited to bring you a stone um, project. It's called Master of Disguise Imperial Golden Stout, and this is a stout brewed with cocoa and coffee beans. So a couple of things excited me about this beer when I saw it on the shelf. I think I actually might have squealed. One, um, I like stone beers. They always put out really interesting things. And two, it's a golden stout. And so you can't really tell from the perspective of the camera, but this beer is going to be golden in color. And so it is a stout, which nowadays we're used to seeing as dark brown or black. This is going to be golden. So originally, the difference, or stouts kind of originated based on porters. Porters were really popular. They offered a second beer that was more stout in body and flavor, and that's where the term stout came from. And so it didn't necessarily dictate color at that time, and there were golden stouts and dark stouts. I don't know if they called them golden stouts, but they came in different colors, and so you would specify if you were having a dark stout. And that's sort of fallen out of favor at this time. So the other thing about this beer that I think is interesting is the fact that it's an imperial stout. So when I was trying to kind of figure out how to assess this based on the BJCP CP style guidelines, there were a couple of things I had to look at. One, it's an American stout, so it's going to presumably be a little bit more hoppy than an English style stout might be. Two, imperial means that it is going to have a higher alcohol content. So it's usually brewed to a higher gravity and hopping level, and it's very popular with American beer makers for those particular reasons. It has between 8 and 12% alcohol by volume. So these are hard-hitting stouts, make them really interesting to drink. So the other thing I thought that was really interesting about it is that stouts and imperial stouts, even more so, are really heavy on the heavy grain roasted kind of coffee chocolate characters, and those are the flavors that really define the style. And so Stone is really adding to that by brewing with cocoa and coffee beans. So we'll get even more of that kind of flavor. But I don't know if you remember Pepsi Clear. It was kind of it kind of messed with your head. You were drinking a clear soda, but but it tasted like Pepsi. And a lot of people didn't like it because they said it wasn't like Pepsi. So we'll see if that turns out to be the case as I drink a golden stout, because I've never had my hands on one, hence this feeling. So let's get down to this. So something I think that's very interesting about this beer is that it's served in a 22-ounce bottle, and it comes in, or yeah, it comes in at 9.7% alcohol by volume. This is a serious beer in a serious size. So this should be fun to drink. Okie dokie. So, because it's in a specialty category, both for the golden quality, the special ingredients of cocoa and coffee that's added, this beer has to be judged according to a specialty category. But the base style I'm going to be kind of reviewing it against is an imperial stout, since it's listed here as an imperial golden stout. So I think that that's probably the best way to kind of judge its merit, I suppose. So, on to aroma. Interesting. Yeah, there's definitely chocolate, and I can smell coffee. It's like almost walking into a Starbucks and you get that coffee scent, or if you leave a bag of ground coffee in your car, it's yummy. There's an almost burnt quality to it, but it's sweetened up by the chocolate, so there's a little bit of sweetness. Very interesting. So I'm not really getting any fruitiness out of this, or caramel qualities or anything like that. That kind of sweetness. The only sweetness I'm smelling is chocolate. Um, and so even coming in at like 9, what did I say, 9.7? Yikes. 9.7 alcohol by volume. This is, it doesn't smell like alcohol, so it's definitely appealing to the nose. So appearance-wise, you can see it's definitely golden. It's a beautiful, rich gold, almost amber. It has some amber qualities to it. When I poured it, it did not really pour with a head, which is actually characteristic for an Imperial Stout, but oftentimes what you'll see is legs, like alcohol, because of the higher or excuse me, like wine, because of the higher alcohol content. We'll have to watch that as we drink, as I drink this down. So on to flavor. Wow, there is really a lot of stuff going on in this beer. Um, I don't even really know where to begin. Wow. Okay. My initial thought is that it's very smooth. It has a kind of sweet, um, smooth quality to it, and I can't really describe it better than that yet. But it ends up finishing bitter. There's a lot of bitterness there, and roasty, grainy, coffee kind of quality to it. Um, that combination. It goes kind of rapidly between those two styles. So it starts out really, excuse me, flavors. It starts out really sweet, and then changes to bitter, and it has a pretty intense bitter going on. Uh, it's moderated by the fact that at the aftertaste, that kind of combines together, and it's really good. It's almost like having chocolate covered espresso beans with hops. So I can definitely get a hop bitterness out of it. Again, appropriate because of its Imperial Stout base, but kind of combining that together is very interesting. Um, hmm. It has a very slight alcohol burn to it, but only very slightly. Um, I think that that's masked very well in the coffee bitterness and the hops bitterness that I'm getting at the end. Um, but there is a kind of dryness, alcohol dryness on the tongue after the fact. Um, so I'm definitely getting um, really intense flavors like coffee, chocolate, like a burnt quality, like a French roast, or like I said, an espresso bean, a roasted bean kind of quality out of it. But it's all softened really well by this kind of sweet chocolate flavor. Um, this is really a great beer. It's really intense. There's a lot of stuff going on, so it's kind of like a party in your mouth. Um, as far as mouthfeel goes, that's one of the things that really surprised me. And I think part of why it surprised me is based on the color, but I don't know if that's the case. It has an incredibly full body. It's definitely a stout. Um, it's thick, it's creamy, it finishes with a nice, drying, crisp quality, which makes you want to drink some more. Very dangerous with a 9.7% alcohol. Um, so, um, I like the description for the Imperial Stout mouthfeel. It says full to very full-bodied and chewy with a velvety luscious texture. Um, that's entirely appropriate. A velvety luscious texture. That's exactly it. My first drink of it, I was like, wow, this has this um, presence when you take a drink, and it's pretty incredible. Um, Another thing that it says is that carbonation should be low to moderate, which I think the feel of the carbonation is. Um, and I took several drinks quickly, so it's hard for me to tell at this point. But I really don't notice a lot of bubbles in the glass as I'm watching it. And it's not a crisp carbonation at all. And that's probably what gives it that kind of thick, full, creamy mouthfeel. Oh, I forgot to look as I was drinking to see if it had any legs um, by alcohol content. At 9.7, I don't know if we should be expecting legs out of this or not. I think that might be something for a little bit higher alcohol content. Um, and so when I do a swirl, I don't really notice that. I think if it were up closer to 10, 11, 12, or 11, 12, closer to wine, that we'd be seeing more leggy quality out of it. Um, so I think that's I think it's appropriate for this style. It's something that we could expect, I think, if it were higher alcohol content. So my overall impression of this beer, this is an incredible beer. Why it comes in this giant bottle, I don't know. I think maybe you're supposed to share it with somebody. And it says on the back, all the deep roasty essence of a stout presented in a brilliant golden ale. And they have done that really, really well. Um, the flavor is exciting. The smell is exciting. It finishes really well. Um, you can tell that it's a hard-hitting beer as far as alcohol content goes. It definitely has a warming sensation on the tongue a little bit. An alcohol kind of a bite, but it's very drinkable. I really like the mouthfeel of it, and um, I really like this beer. Actually, I think this is a really great beer. I'm glad I found it, and I wish I could remember where it was I saw it. It may very well have been at Whole Foods. Um, so there are a couple of beers in this master project, or whatever they call it, series that I think are worth trying. There was another one that I had, I want to say Stone Biscuity or High Biscuity or something like that. I don't recall exactly which, but I had it at a brew pub, so I didn't do a review on it, and I didn't grab it because I was all excited about the Golden Stout. But maybe I'll try to find that and do a review of it next, because Stone really nails their beers. So great job to Stone, Master of Disguise. I think it is a great name for this beer because when you look at it, it looks so innocent and unassuming with this beautiful golden color. But at 9.7% alcohol, it's a serious alcohol. It's a serious beer, and the flavor is really intense. So if you're a stout drinker, I definitely recommend that you give this beer a try. I think that you'll enjoy it. Um, Share with me down below if this is something that you have tried. I would love to hear your opinion on this particular beer. And I would like to know if it's widely available because I'm hoping that Stone is pretty far reaching because they really do some great beers. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.